All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome back to Honey Badger Arcade's Weekend Culture. My name is Brian. I'm here with John, the problematic white guy.
What's up?
And hey, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, awesome as always. That's ready to talk about all the insanity of the week, I suppose. You know.
Actually, this week, at least in the gaming and like culture sphere, it's actually less insane.
True enough, compared to recent weeks, for sure. Yes.
Yeah. But I do have there is definitely some things to talk about. I wonder if this isn't indicative of a shift in our let's say our culture to some degree. And that's what some of the stuff that I'm finding really interesting is. Let me just pop out the X chat. So if anybody's watching on X, follow me at Badger Arcade. My live streams are there, and you guys can give your commentary. What's up, Ears Rhoda, Deadly Do-Right, Morning. I see Bob the Dorcas Fairy.
That's
and
right. I know some of these people. Rhoda is one of my co-hosts. Yeah. I do shows with him on Will of the Fans' channel throughout the week.
Iris?
Yep.
Iris. Okay, well, Iris, Rhoda, just so you know, you're always welcome here. Let me know if the stream is going okay. Hello, Master Goa, welcome. So, so like I was saying, the last 6 months or so, well, maybe more than that, the last 10 months, maybe 10 months, has seen like an awakening happening, or at least like people being more vocal about things and no longer remaining silent. And that's coming out in our culture for sure. And it's something that I don't think really it was. I don't think it came out of nowhere. I just think people found their spines and they started to like, speak out more about what is wrong with our civilization. And that starts with the way that we communicate with each other, the way that we tell stories. And that's why I think this show is important. I can get into, political things happening, but the truth is, politics is, something that is a product of our culture and our values. So that's why I think that this kind of stuff is important. Hello, Gorlock. Welcome to the stream. You can hear loud and clear. That's good.
Indeed.
So anyway, I'm going to ask you guys to hit like on the stream so that it has a chance of reaching more people. And if you're not already following on Rumble, X, or YouTube, please do so, because I don't know how long I'll be able to do this, because you never know when something's going to get taken down. So anyway, we have a couple of shows that are not shows, stories today that are going to reflect what I'm talking about in terms of the way that essentially the silent majority has spoken, and how that has reflected on the way our cultural institutions speak out as well. And there's anyway, that's kind of like the theme I'm getting from this. So Mr. 0303, welcome to the show. He says, if a normie like Asmongold is speaking out, the Overton window is broken. Yes. And that's fine. That, like, when we're at the point where we can get back to the point where civil discourse is the norm, and people aren't just like banning each other, canceling, trying to get you fired, destroy your life, or I don't know, shoot you in the throat with a gun, then I think that we can find a way to make it work. So and I hope that cooler heads will prevail. Hello, Roadkill 101. Welcome to the stream. All right. So
well, with what you're saying into that regard, a lot of the recent response that has been met with more reaction of, oh, I thought you guys were all against this cancel culture and all this kind of. It's like, well, no, this is a taste of your own medicine. This is what we call a reckoning, so you can actually understand why it's important to try to approach things with more civil discourse, because there is a danger if everybody gets caught up in just immediately trying to shut everything down that they don't want to hear and this and that. Because I mean, we've got in the wings, just waiting for the moment to strike. Quite obviously, especially over in the UK, they want to push digital IDs on everyone, and that's going to come along with, central digital currencies, and in doing that kind of stuff. Then it will be completely welcome to China worldwide, where if you don't say what is approved and what's allowed, and you don't, go along with the status quo of things, you commit any thought crime, well, then you're just going to be shut out of access to everything. So this is a way to kind of redress the situation so that people can actually kind of take the time to maybe realize that there is some, benefit to having, I don't know, discernment or tact, or maybe just kind of having a little bit of levity about how you approach things, and try to get this thing to where it's a little bit more about the human condition rather than some political ideological viewpoint being in front and center of everything. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get into the stories, and it's gonna be like, you remember when you were in school and the teacher would wheel in the TV with the VCR on it, and you were like, or broke out the projector or whatever, and you were like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, we're just gonna be watching movies all day. Well, we're gonna be watching videos today, so because the stories are related to them. You guys know that there was a show called The Savant, which was supposed to be launching on. It's supposed to be
being the operative word.
I know it's a weird name for the show, but it's supposed to be coming out on Apple TV Plus. And there's something about it that happened. So let me give you guys the short version of this. I'm going to try to compress it, but The Savant was an upcoming American crime thriller miniseries created by Melissa James Gibson for Apple TV Plus, starring Jessica Chastain, pictured here, as an elite undercover investigator known as the Savant, who infiltrates online hate groups and domestic extremist networks, particularly white supremacist cells, to gather intelligence and prevent acts of terrorism before they happen. The 8-episode series was loosely inspired by a 2019 Cosmopolitan article, because that's where I like to get my news, titled, "Is It Possible to Stop a Mass Shooting Before It Happens?" which profiled a real-life female investigator using similar tactics.
The name The Savant, just to interject briefly, it's such pretentious fucking bullshit. It reminds me so much of that game developer, Call Me the Professor. Yeah, right? It's some stupid shit only a woke white woman would come up with.
Yeah. Nnamdi Asomugha co-stars with production handled by Fifth Season and Anonymous Content. Chastain also serves as an executive producer. So Chastain not only starred in it, but she's the executive producer on it. So then what happened? The series was originally scheduled to premiere its first 2 episodes on Apple TV Plus on September 26th. So yesterday, with subsequent episodes releasing every week through November 7th. However, on September 23rd, just 3 days before the debut, Apple TV abruptly announced an indefinite postponement, removing it from the release schedule without providing a new date or detailed explanation. Apple's official statement was this: "After careful consideration, we have made the decision to postpone The Savant. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to releasing the series at a future date when everyone's forgotten why they canceled it." The move has sparked widespread speculation and criticism, especially amid a tense U.S. political climate following the September 2025 killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, which led to fallout, including the temporary suspension of ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live, we'll talk about that later, in several markets. Media outlets like Variety, The New York Times, and Vulture have framed the delay as Apple exhibiting heightened caution or cowering in anticipation of pressure from the incoming Trump administration, given the show's themes of combating domestic terrorism and online radicalization. Critics argue it exemplifies corporate self-censorship, with one Esquire piece calling it a huge mistake that amplifies the very issues the series aims to address. Jessica Chastain herself publicly distanced herself from the decision in an Instagram post on September 24th, stating that she is, quote, not aligned with Apple's choice despite respecting the company. She emphasized the show's relevance and urgency. I've never shied away from difficult subjects, and while I wish this show wasn't so relevant, unfortunately it is. The Savant is about the heroes who work every day to stop violence before it happens, and honoring their courage feels more urgent than ever. Chastain expressed hope for a future release and highlighted recent U.S. incidents of political violence to underscore the series' timeliness. So, let's look at the trailer for this really quick. But before we do, I did get a super chat. A Rumble rant from Deadly Do-Right. Thank you so much, Deadly Do-Right. He gives us $20. That's an amazing super chat or Rumble rant. Sorry. And he says they martyred Charlie, and their celebration of it galvanized millions. They awakened the sleeping dragon of normies that just wanted a peaceful life. They have no idea what they have wrought. Well, I hope you're right. Honestly, I mean, I think that it's the time for people to at least see the world as it is and like take off the blinders, you know. And this is the thing too, is that, you know, a lot of people get confused that you know, enjoying cultural things like watching movies, reading books, playing games is like turning a blind eye to the world. And a lot of people who are angry that, you know, we got to this situation blame people who engage in leisure. And I think that that's incorrect. I think that those things don't have to be mutually exclusive concepts. One can reinforce the other. Right. And the only reason why people were blinded by it was because their media was telling them that this wasn't coming from the left. That was telling them over and over that anything that you should fear comes from the not even the right. It's more like the way they characterize, you know, what they perceive the right to be, which is kind of cartoonish. And people, if they don't know, if they're not like experiencing things in the real world, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. They just assume that why would this show I like lie to me, right?
Right. And that's the very nature of this, you know, piece of fiction right here, is the idea, and part of the reason why it's not really going to fly well in a reality where your problems that you deal with in the immediate terms are not some right-wing religiously fundamental terror cell. You know, it's quite the opposite, really. You might have to be a little bit more concerned about people that are insistent on calling them, you know, specific pronouns or words that didn't exist 30 years ago. Yeah. So, yeah, it is just kind of in bad taste to try to put out something that ultimately just works as a deflection barrier to the actual state of reality, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's not the you know, at best, people who indulge in like media, I don't like to say consumption because I think that that's like people who do so without thinking, but a lot of people do. They just sort of like, oh, I like this, I'm going to watch this. They get essentially blamed for not paying attention at best, or the media itself is blamed for radicalization at worst, which is why you get. And I mean, like somebody said that trad cucks are the ones that blame video games, but they everybody does. Like everybody does. The left does it too. In fact, they're worse about it because they actually try to change them. You know, right? And yeah, it's ignorance. I agree. It's ignorance. Like what the one thing that people, especially when it comes to video games, one thing that people have not realized yet is that film and television are being replaced by video games as the primary method of entertainment. And it's not just because film and television is garbage, but it's because games offer something like another level of interactivity and a lot of more potential for good storytelling.
Right. There is a bit of internal investment and agency that you can apply to this kind of media.
And there's a lot of potential there, but like people who underestimate that, and those are the people who blame, you know, video games, like a lot of like conservative people, they underestimate the power of that media and that's why they will lose if they don't like step up and start to be a part of the creative process to make it, because the left will make it, and they have been, and we're gonna look at. I mean, that's what we've done. What is Sweet Baby Inc?
Oh yeah, and that's what I was going to say is it is in terms of blaming games, that is something that is done by people that are looking for means of convenience, regardless of the political alignments, because that's what's happening right now with the alleged shooter and all this kind of stuff. They're going into saying, "Oh, well, these are the games they were playing," everything like that.
The ice shooter too,
right?
Yeah.
Right. So
it's again, it's an excuse. It's bullshit.
It's convenient reach for anybody who's looking for simple solutions.
It's not very well thought out. I mean, the first question you should be asking is, where were this kid's parents? And then that's probably something, that's a good starting point. But it comes down to, what does our society teach? And like, where do they get radicalized? Guess what? It's on the internet, on Reddit. It's in the schools in particular. And so like that's where I think, where we need to be like focused. And also, the media does like basically paint a picture of you'd be like seen as a hero if you could do something about ICE, or you could do something about somebody like Charlie Kirk. And so people act on that. That's what it is. I mean, it's not even like, you know what I mean? It's not like a passive thing, like I played Doom, now I want to go shoot up a school. It's more like, what is the message that's being crammed into these people's minds like 24/7?
Yeah, I saw a tone deaf post on X earlier. Someone basically said, there wasn't violence like this when Biden was in the office. It's like, it's because your opposition isn't violent. You're just way to go and kind of prove the point that you are willing to go to violence when you aren't having your brain dead hands met. Yeah.
The other thing is that if there is, it's all about like, so there was always violence. Like there was and I'm not saying that doesn't mean it matters, but that there's like, it looks like there's more chaos when Trump is in office, because that's what the media does. They put a microscope on every incident, and they they move the pieces around, they exaggerate aspects, they downplay other aspects. But the point of it is to make you as a citizen feel like unsafe and like afraid, because there's constant shit going on when he's in office. That's why a lot of people say, I just want peace. I want the chaos to stop. But the media is doing that. Like, but there were shootings and mass shootings and stuff when Biden was in office, but they didn't cover it as much, or at least they didn't give it the same treatment, so that people would feel like everything was fine. And that, I would bet money that's always been the case. Like that, like ever, going all the way back to like when I was a kid.
One of the first stories in the Bible is about violence.
This stuff's been going on since Cain and Abel, basically. Yes. So like to pretend like we're in a unique time in history, even after, I mean, like granted, the assassination of Charlie Kirk is kind of like a historical flashpoint that we should never forget, and I don't think we will. But it's not like this is unique. I think that there's always been this struggle has been going on, So, but anyway, so let's look at the trailer for the Savant. You guys can see this. I know that if you've seen it already, forgive me, but I just want us to look at why this show may have been postponed.
Right.
And again, they're probably going to bring it back at some point.
Oh yeah. No, they'll give it 3
Hey kids, come on.
All right. So here we got our main character.
What's she looking at? She's working.
We just need to know that she's progressive. That's why. So
she's working. I thought this was a no-work weekend, Mom.
Another mom at night goes to the shed. I like how she has 3 screens. What's this logo over here? Is that like some like quad? Is that one of those swastikas that?
That's one of those things they're going to try to pull. They've been trying to say that is connected to CFAC is a logo from Nazi regalia. But
Yeah.
quite honestly, it looks more like something off of Twin Peaks.
Look at no, I think it's supposed to be like a variation because you know how the Stormfront, right? I'm not familiar with them that much, but there's a lot of different kinds of like symbolism other than like just the swastika. Plus, I don't think Apple would allow them to put a swastika on the screen.
No. But that does look. It does look like one of the pieces of regalia that was on Nazi uniforms.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like something that alludes to something, white nationalist. And then on the right screen, you have like the people she's doing her homework on, and they're like the whitest dudes you know. So again, this is the setup, right? And my favorite part is coming up here where let me just show you this.
It's going to be a coordinated mass attack. Blood will be shed. Locked and loaded and planted for months. The hunt has begun.
You in or what? So she's infiltrating these forums. And again, this is the stuff that happens on Reddit mostly. I mean, I'm sure that there are like, very small numbers of far-right groups that are talking, but they haven't committed any acts of violence. But most of that comes from the left because they're co-signed on it. That's supported, right? It's okay when they do it. They're doing something good. And they're told this by their teachers, by their friends, by their peers online, by agents of radicalization that exist, like accelerationists, like the 764, group that BX has reported on, by the media. So if you're getting it from everybody and they're all telling you this is okay, I can see if only takes one person that's unhinged enough to act on it.
Right.
But anyway. Yeah.
I mean, back in the year 2020 alone, they went from you all deserve to be in camps and not be deserving of medical treatment if you don't go along with this bioweapon attack that's happening in broad daylight, to the Summer of Love antics and all that kind of stuff, where they were quite adamant about burning down their own local neighborhood businesses and things like that, and only actually being useful idiots in the process to this globalization effort that's already well in play.
Yeah. So this also reminds me of another woman who did this named Laura Bates. And Laura Bates is an English feminist woman. She's written some books, and she has basically said that she has gone into what she calls incel forums to figure out what the incels are about. And, I don't buy it for a second because she's extremely disingenuous, but she basically claims that, they're like super radical, super violent, and most importantly, they hate women. Right. And so I think that there is that's another thing that I see like a connection to here. So anyway, she gets asked, you in or what? Because she's managed to like get into the inner circle. And she replies, why is she like a key hunter? Did you see that?
Right.
The way she typed it out, it was like click, click, click. I thought this is what you do. I know they're doing it for drama, but it makes her look like she's just not proficient with keyboards.
She's the savant,
Yeah, right. They call that a key hunter, right? Where you're like looking for them.
Right. Hunt and peck. Yeah.
(1994) and 2020, 833 extremist attacks.
What do you do in there all day? All night sometimes.
I track people who are planning attacks. My job is pretending to think like them to stop those people from doing really bad things.
FBI, on your knees!
Of course, they're all white dudes.
Savant. Snipers, bombings, ambushes. We're on the verge of serious violence. I've been watching him for a year and a half. He's recruited.
What?
They said the thing, like they literally referred to her as
yeah. They put the title in the dialogue. Gorlock says chicken typing. That's what that is. And she has caps lock on. Yeah, she's yelling in the chat. Wouldn't they have figured out something was wrong with her if it took her that long to type yes?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so like this is well, let's finish the trailer, but this is
Shooting or
obvious.
something.
Like,
I don't know what it is, but it's massive.
This guy isn't just planning violence. He's
White
out to
dude.
make a statement.
they're all
of a
white
statement.
dudes.
Of
The
course.
kind that history refers to with a month and a date.
I mean, like 9/11. Yeah, I remember when the white dudes got in the plane, hijacked it, and crashed it in 2 towers.
Right.
I remember when all those frat boys did that.
Innocent Americans are going to die.
We need to infiltrate further.
Oh, Master
I
Chiefs.
don't think you should keep pushing this.
See this guy, the friend? He's white, but he's gay, so that's okay. He's like the
Right,
gay
right.
friend. And I'm telling you, I know this because of the sweater, the glasses, the hair, and the way that he talks. I'm telling you, that's a gay character. I promise.
Mhm.
I don't think you should keep pushing this.
Yep, absolutely.
Listen to me. They have photos of your family.
You think if you engage with terrible things, you're daring even worse things to happen.
She's evidently typing the title as well.
So like I thought it would make for a lol-worthy thing to talk about when it came out,
Indeed.
but it didn't come out.
But
It's not coming
going
out.
to. Not anytime soon, anyways. Not for a season or so.
Yes. So why? Okay, but if the show was taken down, I mean, I want you guys to tell me, like, based on what little information we have, it was based on a 2019 Cosmopolitan article. I can look up the article. We can look at it, and we have the content of the trailer and the fact that they're basically postponing the show indefinitely. I mean, what does that tell us about what the show was going to be about? Like, what was it really going to be about? Because when it comes to like extreme or whatever, you want to like mass shootings or whatever, how many of them have turned out to be like transgender people, furries, or some combination of those things, or just like radically left, like the guy who shot up the ICE truck? He wasn't targeting immigrants; he was targeting ICE. He didn't know there were immigrants inside the truck, so when he shot the truck, he ended up killing a couple of immigrants instead.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, the ICE agents were fine. But of course, the media is spinning it, or at least people in the media, I don't know if it's everybody, are trying to say, oh, no, because immigrants died, he was a right-wing guy. But they were being deported. Like, and that's what people want. They don't want immigrants dead, the illegals. They want them just to go away. Like, they want to go home, you know? So, but yeah, that guy was apparently his like sister, his whole family was liberal, like pretty like, you know, far left people.
Yeah. No, they try to find any sniff of just evidence that they can put on these things to go and say, oh, but no, really, white nationalists. Yeah, because that guy ended up killing 2 people that were in custody, and then ultimately killed himself. Just yesterday, earlier in the week, there was the ICE detention center that got right there. Actually, I think it was in Texas as well, where there was a whole bunch of ICE or anti-fascist people that were surrounding the building, and they all ended up getting rounded up one at a time, which was really quite the sight to see for who they're not sending their best. The anti-fascist brigade. They look like they should probably skip a few dinners and maybe do some training if they're really gonna want to try to do
a bunch of dysgenic freaks, but definitely more than an idea.
Right.
Which is what the bullshit we've been fed all this time. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're completely just reactionary. Ice Cube yesterday. He was gonna have a concert in Portland, and they see the word ICE on his bus. So clearly, it's a federal agency, so his bus got firebombed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Ice Cube got firebombed by Antifa because it was a little bit too similar to Ice.
Right.
Wow. Well, Ice-T better be taking notes.
Indeed.
And Vanilla Ice better stay far away. But yeah, so obviously I think it tells you like what this show was going to be, which is basically more, you know, propaganda, more of this, because like what kind of people watch this? What kind of people watch this show?
If you're an Apple Plus subscriber, I mean, I don't want to say that they are exclusively a left wing kind of ideologically based streaming platform, but you know,
well, I'm not. Even if you just think demographically, like I think
right.
it's going to be like for, you know, like middle-aged women.
Yes,
to be middle-aged women that watch this.
Yes,
and so that they are the targets of women are generally the targets of propaganda because they're more susceptible to it. So when you see something propagandistic, it is usually aimed at women. And you'll know this because Gamergate, which was mostly men, were the first people to push back on what they saw as a problem in the games industry. Like, I mean, like it was naked, right? The only men that would defend this stuff are usually white knights or a different brand of like Spurg themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I consider them to be woke white women as well. They just happen to be men, but they're very much in their progressive politics. And yeah, Apple Plus as a platform is generally made for pretentious, upper middle class, progressive leaning sensibilities.
Well, Apple products are definitely like a little bit more. They're kind of elitist, and I hate them. But anyway, okay. So I got a Rumble rant. Sorry, another Rumble rant from NobaFan21 for $1. Thank you, NobaFan. He says, if it was actually realistic, they would prevent nothing and instead wait until after disasters happen and then say they were on our radar. Yeah, right. It's pretty good. Thank you for that. I want to read some of the choice comments under this trailer. So and this is before they took it down, like before they not took it down, but before they decided to postpone the show indefinitely. So Vegeta00 said she has the superpower to remove comments and ban users from Reddit, Blue Sky, and Discord. She has a license to edit wiki articles. She can lower a business's SEO on the Google algorithm. She is the Savant. Somebody else said, dude, this is hilarious. Some middle-aged mom fighting internet trolls. Another one says, let's reboot 1984, only this time Big Brother is the good guy. Okay. The real hero was the surveillance state who pretended to be your friend on the internet all along. Yeah, this is also probably a show that makes the case for a surveillance state. I could see that. You know, it's a good point.
A lot of these things are pushing towards that contextual narrative, more or less. Yeah, that is the ultimate end goal in all of this.
Yes, for sure. When she proudly said, it's censoring time, everyone in the theater stood up and absolutely lost their mind.
Right.
The protagonist ignores her children, cheats on her husband, polices free speech, and is the hero in my best Dr. Evil voice. Right. Yeah, I think that there is a thing of her like making out with some.
Yeah, she's making out with
her husband.
I believe she's making out with Liev Schreiber, the terror cell.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it
Liev Schreiber?
It might be his brother, but this guy who plays Master Cheeks in the terrible Halo show.
The one where they show his face?
Yeah. Yeah.
Karen versus Straight White Men 2 Electric Boogaloo. The main character is how the writer sees herself. Yes.
Pretty much.
And then there was, I think one of my favorite, somebody said, Bright6F said, bro, Apple needs to hire her to protect them from the comment section. So yeah, this show being pulled down, I think, is evidence that Apple was like, okay, this is not appropriate. We got to like do something, because they were trying to send a message that's completely different, I think it was based on a narrative that is the opposite of reality. And I think that people knew that, especially after first of all, the ICE attack, but also the memorial for Charlie Kirk, where there were like millions of people tuned in. I didn't watch it, but I just thought I'd wait for the highlights. But millions of people tuned in, and there were also, I think it was a packed stadium. So it was like a message, just people showing up to like
2 stadiums.
You know,
there's an overflow stadium.
Yeah, it was an overflow, and there were people watching at home, and there were people outside, like
worldwide,
watching, like, you know,
100 million plus people watching that.
Yeah. So that sent a message that the normies, and I would consider that number of people to be like mostly normies. The normies were, you know, basically they weren't having it, and I mean, like, makes sense to me. Once you like go violent, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, you don't get to put that genie back in the bottle. It's you know, so that's kind of what I think is what they're dealing with, and that's why their reaction is to be like, okay, wait, we gotta take this down. So another L for Hollywood. Just another L for Hollywood on that front. Okay. So let me see what comments you guys are saying, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. Norwegian says, plot twist, she's being recruited by Antifa. That would be funny. That would be clever, actually. Good writing.
Right.
Robert Johnson says, the membership of Skull and Bones probably planned it to be Frank. Norwegian says, Brian's gaydar is tingling. No, I can tell. I used to live in Boys Town. Lispy Larry, Lucas says. Robert Johnson says, today in Weaponized Autism, Alchemist, your finest Tylenol potion, please. Gabriel says, Ice Cube is an inside job. Let's see. Gorlock says, it's funny as they call people Nazi, yet they brandishing the swastika everywhere they go, and now they are hating on Jews too. Antifa is the only group tagging the swastika everywhere. Yes, they post more swastikas than Nazis do. Of which, you know, like, I think they're both shit. So, but the thing is, though, we're not taught that. Like, people, like, if you see a hammer and sickle somewhere, nobody bats an eye. I mean, I do, but like, most people don't think it's a big deal. People wear like Che Guevara shirts, or, you know, they're into Frida Kahlo or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, those are communists. And they're just like, well, okay, so what? But it's like, but you don't have that reaction for Nazis. Like, what's the difference? Like, they're really, there's little differences in how, like, maybe like how what the reasoning is, or how they operate. But like, at the end of the day, they're both authoritarian, totalitarian, you know, ideas. They just have different like reasons for it. And I'm just like, can we condemn both of these things? I mean, one is easy to condemn. The other one's not. That's the problem. The communists won, and they're basically trying to push their shit on us. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the American patriotism is characterized by rugged individualism, and you know, like, and that means that collectivism under any banner in and of itself is kind of an issue. You know, the whole idea of, you know, when we say that we prefer the idea of small government, that means decentralized, as in everybody kind of governs themselves, not just a central, you know, control state that is small in number. It means small in its footprint and its breadth of, you know, kind of oversight. Because ultimately, regardless what influences you in life, you're ultimately beholden to the choices that you choose to put into action.
Yeah. Let's see some more comments. Let's see. These comments are fire. Yes, they were. Master Goa says, Ice Cube recently had some lame War of the Worlds movie where Amazon saves the day by drone delivery to his secret base. Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
I knew about the movie where he's basically sitting in front of a computer the whole time, and they thought that was clever. But I didn't know that the victory was Amazon delivery.
Yes. They've literally had Amazon delivery commercials as part of the plot.
That is insane, but funny. Okay. Gorlock says, I stopped using Apple after they started cracking down on open source software in 2014. I didn't know that they were ever open to that stuff.
Right.
They like themselves some self-contained ecosystem that they completely control and own.
Very much closed garden kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walled garden. Yeah.
Yeah. Environment. Yeah.
Gorlock says, wasn't the Nazi a socialist? Yes. They were National Socialist German Workers' Party. That's basically socialist, like through and through. The only difference is, if any, is that they were doing it along, sort of like nationalist lines, as opposed to communism, which was more like, well, we need to make everything communist because otherwise it doesn't work. That's why it's never been tried, because they haven't consumed the whole planet yet.
Right.
So, let's see. I think that is, can we reclaim the Buddhist manji symbol? Yeah, right. Trickster not. Both are fruit of the same socialist tree. Yes, that's right. And they're not opposites. That's the thing.
No.
Like, the communists want you to think they're opposites. They're not. Just tell them you guys are the same. And that will piss them off more than anything else. Because they're banking on seeing themselves and framing themselves as the good guys, because they're not the bad guys who are obviously the Nazis. And also, you guys should think, like, going back to the culture thing before we move on to the next story, how many films depict Nazis versus communists? There are movies with communists in them for sure. There's a lot of Cold War movies and stuff. But like, how often how thorough is the narrative that Nazis are basically the worst people ever versus the communists? Where, like, I even saw a movie that had like sympathetic communists in it during World War II.
Right.
And there have been a few. So just think about it that way. It's all about the way that they frame it. Remember, the culture war is ultimately a marketing war. They're marketing ideas at you, and they do it by, like, they tell you some things a little bit exaggerated, but there's a little bit of truth to it. And then there are other things they downplay a little bit, or they twist it a little bit, or they leave something out, they omit this or that. And the point of it is to get you emotionally invested in a certain idea. Yep. And they reinforce it. And they do it in tiny little baby steps too,
Mm-hmm.
But
widening the gap.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. So we had our Sony State of Play happened, and I guess for the most part, people thought it was mid.
Yes.
Like, there wasn't anything going on that was particularly, like, impressive. But there was finally a trailer for the Wolverine game by Insomniac. And I saw the trailer for it, and there's been so the wokies are really upset that people are calling this game woke. And that's because the definition of what makes a game woke for the left is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they think it is, but like the way that people have been trained to see bullshit, like, the pattern recognition is activated, and you can't stop that, right? So
yeah, especially amongst gamers, that's kind of what games.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do, right? Yeah, so exactly. So let me. Okay. So the release of the first gameplay trailer for Insomniac Games' Marvel Wolverine, during Sony State of Play, has ignited widespread excitement among gamers and Marvel enthusiasts. They praise the unapologetically brutal combat and gore as a faithful depiction of Logan's comic book ferocity. Fans on platforms like X and Reddit have hailed the trailer as phenomenal and the ultimate Wolverine experience, with visceral finishers like claws piercing through enemy skulls, drawing comparisons to R-rated films, and eliciting reactions such as "Holy fuck, Insomniac went all in," and exactly what fans wanted. The shift from the more PG-rated Spider-Man series to this darker, more linear action-adventure featuring global locales like the Canadian wilderness and Tokyo have been celebrated as Insomniac redefining superhero games, with the studio's creative director noting that even developers questioned if scenes went too far before deeming them essential. Okay. Now that sounds good. And the trailer doesn't look. We'll look at the trailer, because I got it queued up here.
Yeah, but there is some new at all. They did this 20 years ago.
Yeah, they did it with the Wolverine, the one based on the movie, which I think still holds up.
Yeah,
I I would like to play it. I don't know if you can find it easily anymore. The PS3.
Sure, I don't think it was
Wolverine
ever a
game.
digital. Yeah, I don't think it was a digital release.
Yeah,
so you
no.
probably
I have to go to like a
find it on-
GameStop or something.
Yeah.
To try to score it. But I mean, yes, it has been done before.
Yeah.
I think Insomniac. Well, it's just kind of like I'm not saying that they're not doing anything new or whatever, but
Right.
it is a bit derivative. Like Spider-Man, the Marvel Spider-Man game that Insomniac put out was good. I played it, but I had some problems with it. Like I didn't care for some of the redesigns. I didn't like that Dr. Octopus was bald. I didn't like that he and Peter were so close. It was a weird way of introducing that story. Those things I could live with, but them putting Miles Morales in the game at all bothers me to no end, because I think that's a shit character. They should just can it and just leave it in the dustbin of history. It's not a good character. Stop trying to make Miles Morales happen. He's not going to happen. Nobody likes that character, okay? And it's just not interesting, okay? We already have a Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man. We don't need. I've never liked the idea of like making like multiple versions of the same character. It's lazy. It's derivative. And I mean, you know, it used to be the case that only DC Comics was guilty of that. But Marvel has been like playing catch up, and they've been doing it too, you know, with Ironheart and She-Hulk. Well, She-Hulk was okay, but you know, you have all these variations like Red Hulk and Red She-Hulk and all that. You know, it's
I mean,
lazy.
She-Hulk
It's just-
was okay,
lazy.
but that's because She-Hulk existed before the Disney.
Yeah,
takeover.
it
But
was
since
like
since then, it's been completely undermined and turned into something.
Yeah, and again, like it was at least different enough that you could be like, okay, this is fine, right? It wasn't like just the Hulk but with tits, you know.
Right.
But going back to this though, there were some issues. I didn't like the Mary Jane sections in the game. Nobody did. So
Mary Jowls. That's not
yeah. But like ultimately Spider-Man 2, I think it was the game Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 was or the PS1 even maybe. I think it was on PS2. I can't remember, but there was an old Spider-Man game that everybody says is like the GOAT, right?
Uh-huh.
And the Insomniac Spider-Man game was just doing that, like the web slinging stuff, and they just took it a little further, which is fine. But it wasn't like, you know, like this like completely unique thing, because we'd already had it. And I think the Wolverine is the same.
Yeah.
But does that mean that in terms at least of the way that they handle the combat and stuff, that could be a lot of fun to play? Usually the issue with the woke stuff doesn't come out in the gameplay so much as it does in the other aspects, like the art direction, the story, the plot,
messaging,
the messaging,
narrative design.
Maybe there'll be like a side quest where Wolverine has to like go to a pride festival or something. I don't know. Like that would be it sounds really stupid, but I could totally see it, right? Or there could just be a conversation that brings something ideological up. And we'll see when the game comes out, because I know people are going to buy it. But I suspect that there is going to be some woke shit in there.
Oh yeah, considering that Disney has made it canon, that for them at least in the Disney aspect of Disney Marvel, that Wolverine is a bisexual. I would be very surprised if that doesn't find its way.
They'll make him Pan.
Right.
So nobody's bisexual anymore, because
you're right.
Bisexual
that's
is
too binary.
Because bisexual suggests two sexes.
Binary.
That's bi. Right. That implies a binary. We can't have that. So bisexuals, bye-bye. You are regressive and backwards and bigots. This is for pansexuals now, because you got to cover all the bases. Okay. Otherwise, you won't be attracted to non-binary people, and we can't have that. So, anyway, but okay. So while the majority response has been overwhelmingly positive, some on X and certain subreddits have criticized the game's character designs, particularly Mystique's portrayal as overly masculine looking.
Mystique looks like me in Smurf
androgynous.
makeup.
Huh?
I said Mystique looks like me in Smurf makeup. We literally the other day on Will's channel, I said I had Will like throw me up full screen and I said, all right, now put her screen up there. And then I said, now put us next to each other. And we did the corporate wants to know what's the difference between these photos. It's like,
Yep.
This is my face on Mystique. this is not good.
You look like Mystique, or she looks like you. You came first.
Right.
But yeah, so looks a little bit weird. Mystique looks weird. And then there's like some of the bigger red flags. Like, first of all, we have Insomniac's track record with Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Miles Morales, where, I mean, Spider-Man 2, I don't think that they even learned anything from it. They saw no reason to apologize for it. So, as we all know, one of the main rules of wokeness is they always double down. So I'm basically just predicting that this is going to be woke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the wokies don't like that because they want the game to succeed because they want to validate their worldview. So they're basically saying, you have to show us evidence and proof. Well, one of the people from Firewalk Studios, Firewalk Studios, the studio that gave us Concord, is working on the game. And I believe that at least someone involved with Sweet Baby Inc. was also involved with the game.
Their entire
Sweet Baby Inc. itself is involved.
Yes, and also one of the designers also retweeted a Charlie Kirk death celebration tweet as well. So,
well, that's enough. I mean, look, I wasn't going to buy it anyway, but that's enough for me to say I don't think anybody should buy it.
Yeah,
I don't. You should not give money to people who hate you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if they were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk and they worked on this game, then that's a no. Yeah. That's a no. So I am non-binary in terms of I'm not going to buy it. But okay, so let's see. Insomniac tried to dismiss these detractors with a social media post featuring pointing and clown emojis, while the game subreddit and broader YouTube comments have mocked the controversy, focusing instead on Easter eggs like, Omega Red, Sentinels, and the classic yellow and black suit. But we will take a look at the trailer and let's see for ourselves. So this is the trailer for Wolverine.
Been fighting longer than I can remember.
So they base him on Hugh Jackman's face. Looks like it a little bit,
but his voice is not gravelly enough.
No, it's not. You know the guy who I don't know his name, but there's the guy who had been doing Wolverine's voice since like the X-Men cartoon. It's like the same, isn't it the same guy? Or at least if it's not, they got like somebody who sounds a lot like him.
He was the same voice actor on the X-Men 97.
X-Men 97, and also basically like multiple appearance, like in the games, like
he's generally
they got the same guy to do the voice for that. In Marvel Rivals, they got the same guy to do the voice for that.
Yeah.
And if it isn't the same guy, they got someone who sounds just like the guy, because they know like that's like a thing that we're expecting. Like we want it to sound like that.
It should.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, his voice actor has been doing this longer than Hugh Jackman has. So
that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway.
I'd like to say I'm not a violent man. The trouble just has a way of finding me. But I'd be lying.
I don't know how much this game plays to. That looks like
doesn't matter where I go.
Yeah, that is.
Very little of this is actually gameplay.
How far I run.
Okay, that's Omega Red. I never cared for this character. I never cared for this character. You can smell the awful QTEs.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm guessing the combat looks like it's going to be based in the same combat system that Spider-Man had.
Oh, of
which
course.
was basically-
They used the
basically
Spider-Man
borrows
engine
from the Batman
specifically.
Arkham games,
Right.
you know, where you're kind of like, or Assassin's Creed, the old Assassin's Creed games,
Yeah.
where you get like, prompts. Yeah, go ahead.
This game is completely using the Spider-Man engine. So
Yeah.
there's nothing going to be new in terms of. That's why I say most of this is not even actual legitimate gameplay. There is like the stuff where he's running and a few of the hand-to-hand combat things.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. You can that will probably be what it looks like for the combat stuff. But this right here that's currently paused,
Like a
This-
pre-rendered cinematic.
this is clearly
thing.
a pre-rendered cinematic, and then a lot of it is going to be quick time event kind of, schlock. Yeah.
Mhm.
This thing is preying upon your emotions and nostalgia more so than actually showing
Sure.
just a consistent. Oh, this is what the game plays like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Death's always waiting. Just not for me.
Wait, let me go back to Mystique.
Yeah,
'cause-
yeah. That's where I showed up.
God, looks like
Yeah.
some a Star Trek Klingon.
Mhm.
Sorry, but like, okay, we know Mystique can look like anybody, but she is a woman. Like they literally had, who do they have play her in the X-Men movies? Like the old
Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
exactly. And Rebecca
yeah.
Romaine Stamos was what? Was she attractive?
She was a fucking goddamn swimsuit model. I mean, yes, yeah.
And was
Yeah.
her sex appeal used to sell the character in the movies? Like
Completely.
what? Well, like she was basically naked. Like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she was basically naked. Like she walked around, blue naked, bare ass, and
Yep.
she was attractive. Like this
Yeah.
is
And even-
clearly, meant to make the characters less appealing to men. Let's just face it. Like this is
Right.
how you know. The biggest red flag is Mystique. Like the biggest red flag. But I knew this just based on who was working on it, how they reacted to stuff.
Yep.
Then we got
even
the Jennifer Lawrence downgrade. Yeah.
was not. But that's the thing is these are constantly diminishing returns. And again, this is another one of those things where Disney Marvel, you have to understand that Mystique. How dare you call her just a woman? Don't you know?
She can be anything.
Don't
they're
you
totally gonna
know
use
that
this,
she's a non-binary icon. Okay. All right. She turned herself into a man and impregnated her lesbian girlfriend, in the comics. I'm not even joking about
Yeah,
that.
no, I know. I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just gross.
right.
Like it's just gross. To me, I don't know, like it's just gross.
Yes.
But yes, I know that they did that. That's just how far we have fallen.
That is yeah.
Yeah.
Insanity.
It's not it was never supposed to be the case. She was kind of a foster mother to Rogue when Rogue was, I don't know if you guys know, but when Rogue was first introduced in the comics, she was a villain and she was part of the Brotherhood, and she was also like under 18. Like she had just become a mutant, and she couldn't even fly or anything like that. All she could do was steal powers.
Yep. And she ended up taking her powers from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, she took Carol Danvers, Ms.
Carol.
Marvel.
Right.
I will not call her Captain Marvel.
True enough. Yes.
We
yes,
already
yes.
had a Captain Marvel. His name was Marvel. But
Yes.
but yeah, so and Mystique was just like the person who basically Rogue was closest to, but there was no blood relation of any kind. So yeah, it was just, isn't Mystique just a chameleon? Yes. And that's the thing, like the she wasn't supposed to be able to like impregnate people. She just looked like them. Like there was like in these kinds of stories, when you have somebody who's just like, I have the ability to look like other people, or even people who can shapeshift. Okay.
Right.
When we would read comics about shapeshifters, we didn't immediately go to, oh man, they should impregnate everybody. Like that
Right.
wasn't what you were supposed to be thinking about. And yet this is how like basically degenerate our culture is. Everybody looks at it as, oh, well, what could I do with this sexually?
Right.
You ever notice, like, I used to play D&D, okay? This is like as an aside. I used to play a lot of D&D. And when we played D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you guys who don't know what D&D stands for, you know, everybody would make a character and we would go on adventures and fight monsters and get loot and level up, and then go on more adventures and fight more monsters and get more loot and level up. And sometimes there was a story, you know, that was sort of like tying it all together, but it was just a vehicle that you would use so that you could play the game, which was like what most of the material in the books was used for. But what I noticed as we've moved more and more towards this modernity thing is that people started thinking about ways to use D&D to like fuck everybody. And then you saw like all of these memes about bards fucking everything. They would make their roles to like fuck monsters and fuck their enemies and fuck their friends and fuck the NPCs, you know? And it was like, why is this coming up so often? And I hate to tell you this, but it's because women got involved. That's what I think. I mean, like it just changed everything. Yeah. And you know, I think that we're at a point now where everything we see has to have something sexual considered for it. Right. We have to look at that now. And I think that has something to do with like women entering into the hobby, where we're able to like compartmentalize it, right? Where it's like, well, I'm going to think about sex when it's time to think about sex, like when I'm with my girlfriend or my wife, or I'm going to the club and I'm looking for somebody. But when I'm doing like hobbies with my friends, I'm not going to be thinking about sex there. Right. You might comment on stuff like, you know, I like, you know, I thought that everybody has their waifus, you know, and stuff, but I'm not like constantly thinking about it. It's like, I don't know, man. I think that women are the biggest gooners and nobody wants to.
Oh, yeah. And that has been one of the biggest deflection things in history, I would say, in terms of the culture, you know, war of the sexes, where they'll sit here and say, oh, men can't stop thinking about sex. It's like, I think the lady doth protest too much because, as you're saying, we look at, you know, what has happened in works of fictional media.
Fantasy genre, yeah.
Right. And all this kind of stuff that has evolved out of it with more and more women being in positions of power and oversight in the quote-unquote narrative design. And now it permeates every aspect of all this stuff, that it has to have some kind of a relationship, kind of whatever. When historically in the past, a changeling, a shapeshifter, whatever the fuck you want to call it, was a surface level detail, and it didn't actually augment the internal organizational structure of the organism on the inside, much like transing yourself. It's you know, it's skin deep, and you know what remains is still actually inherently there from the start. So yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Deadly Do Right gives $1 on Rumble. Thank you, Deadly, and says it's not just women getting involved in being gooners. It's that women stopped being wives for husbands. Men are also touch and sex starved, and that gives women more sexual power too. Right. Yes. Teal Deer said, still waiting for canonically accurate height Wolverine. I think this is maybe he looked a little small in some of the shots, but yes, he should. I think Wolverine was like 4'11" or something in the comics.
He's a short king.
Short king, for sure.
Because I ain't no hero. I'm Wolverine.
The Sentinel looks cool. So, like, again, you know, if they would just get the woke shit out of their company, they would have some good stuff. There's definitely talented people there, but they can't do it. They're incapable. And I think that, like, basically it's fully infected. The corpse is the body is infected. Teal Deer says, remember those studies of arousal when looking at things done on men and women? The results that showed men were aroused by human stuff, but women were aroused by everything? Yeah, I remember, yes. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, So, any thoughts on the Wolverine trailer?
It's exactly what I was expecting. I've known about Sweet Baby Inc. involvement in this for quite some time now, and you know, they've tried to downplay it. They tried to hide it away. They took it off the website. Did all this kind of stuff, and they're trying to act as though, oh well, it's just consultancy. We're not, you know, what people think we do is so much more. It's like you literally tell people that if you don't abide by their shit, that you're going to cut them out of their jobs and, you know, find someone who will carry the water. So you can sit here and try to say that all you do is after the fact kind of things, and you don't have this ability to cattlegate design and tie them up with all this kind of stupid fuckery. But we all know better, you know, and you can sit here and try to lie to people that have no basis and background in game design and the industry at large. But there's people like me that exist in this space that will openly talk about it and say, yeah, no, I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about here, and this is what you do, and this shit's been permeating and building and getting worse over the course of the last 20 fucking years, you know, and it only continues to get more fucked by the day that they have their complete involvement. I look at a game like this and I think to myself about how I'm going to avoid this just the same way that I did Spider-Man, and how I'm looking to avoid Grand Theft Auto 6. And and the nice thing is there's you know, the game Ananta is coming out. It's a gotcha game.
We're gonna look at the trailer for that.
Indeed. And to me, like, of all the games that, because that wasn't even part of the state of play, but that's the best game that I've seen this week that actually shows 10 minutes nonstop of in-game playtime, and it looks phenomenal. And considering that it's going to be $100 for a price of entry to get into GTA 6 plus $10 a month for your GTA Plus membership.
Yeah. If
you're telling me that I can do a free-to-play game with gotcha game elements by the people who are responsible for Genshin Impact, NCSoft, I got no problem. There's play mechanics in there that are cribbed pretty much from Spider-Man. And so, you know, this game's going to scratch a lot of itches without having to put a lot of internal investment in it. And if you like it and you want to support financially, have at it. But I am not worried or concerned about not giving two shits about this or Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the Rumble rant, Daily Do Right. And let me just read a couple more comments here, and we'll move on to the next thing. Mr. 303 says Insomniac themselves are woke. You don't need SBI to boycott. I wasn't going to get it anyway. Master Goa says, I'm not a comic guy, but I like the old X-Men cartoon. I like when Apocalypse said, I am as far as beyond mutants as they are beyond you. Yes, I remember that line, and that was a good. They wrote the characters well back then for like a Saturday morning cartoon. You know what was really deep was the Silver Surfer cartoon. Anybody remember the Silver Surfer cartoon? That was the bomb, man. I was really into it. But yeah, those old shows, even the Spider-Man, was like Spider-Man, X-Men, Silver Surfer, and there was later on there was a couple of other X-Men
Iron
shows.
Man one at one point.
There were a couple of good Spider-Man shows, and I also really liked Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes. It's a shame that one they took it down, because that was really. Like, I mean, setting aside all of the great DC ones, like Justice League and Batman and stuff, for Marvel shows, those were good ones. But anyway. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the standouts from what is this again? The State of Play. I was spacing out on it from State of Play. So, okay. So we got some gameplay and more information about the Halloween game. And I want we're going to watch this, and I want you guys to tell me what this game reminds you of, because it's really sounds like something that I've seen before. I can't quite put my finger on it. Well, I guess they're remastering Deus Ex, the original. which I heard that's a really good game. I would definitely play it.
I played
You
the
guys
first.
thought it was
I
worth
played this and Invisible War all the way through. This definitely it looks like a well done remaster.
Remaster.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and
Next year. It's almost Halloween, and you know what they say. Everyone's entitled to one good scare. Death comes to Haddonfield in Halloween the Game, a tribute to the John Carpenter classic. The team at IllFonic invites players to an asymmetrical horror sandbox where you can play as a civilian survivor or Michael Myers himself. In each game, it's up to you as survivors to save these hapless townfolk or to hunt them down as Michael Myers. He possesses unique abilities like shape jump, allowing him to move around the map unseen and pop out where you'd least expect him. Playing as a civilian, it's up to you to lead townsfolk to safety, find a phone, and call the police for help. Civilians can also scavenge for gear and weapons to help them survive when they inevitably cross paths with the unstoppable Michael Myers. Become the boogeyman or protect his victims when Halloween the Game launches on September 8th, 2026.
Gee, I vaguely recall last Halloween we were playing Friday the 13th before the servers got shut down, and it was an asymmetrical game where you had to try to call the police.
So IllFonic, are they? They're not the people who worked on Friday the 13th, are they?
I can't recall, but if they are,
I'm gonna see.
Yeah, double check, because and if that's the case, then I can at least respect them saying, "All right, fine, you're gonna get rid of our game. We're just gonna bring it back with a different Hollywood
they
slasher."
are the same people. Oh no, they are. They are. Yes.
Well, there you go. Maybe this is the whole reason why they
okay.
shut the server down, because they knew that they had this coming out in the chamber a year later.
They worked on a couple of. Let me see. They worked on Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I never played, but I haven't seen the movie for that either.
All right, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The movie is way good. The game, is mid at kind. It's too.
Is it also like an asymmetrical? Like
yeah, of course.
No?
Yeah. Yes, it is, but it's parsed down from what was the experience of Friday the 13th. I got a free copy of it, and even with the free copy of it, it was just kind of And
they worked on Predator Hunting Grounds.
Okay. So they specialize in these.
I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game too. Yeah. That was all them. So yes, they are the people who worked on Friday the 13th, the game. So what that tells me is they really wanted to continue to work on Friday the 13th, the game, but they couldn't, and it was because of basically property concerns, like who owns the property. And the thing about Friday the 13th is, it has a really crazy story of it's a convoluted exchange of properties that have moved around. Like Warner Brothers kind of owns it, but Paramount owned it. And some people, a New Line Cinema owns part of it. So New Line Cinema used Jason in some of the later movies. I think it was everything from Part 8 on to Freddy versus Jason. And even the remake that they tried to bring back Friday the 13th, and I guess they're trying to bring it back again. They're working on it. So because the licensing is all over the place, the developers of the Friday the 13th game couldn't hold on to the property anymore. There was just too many legal problems with it. And so they tried doing other games. That's why they gave us Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Predator Hunting Grounds, but that didn't work either. And everyone was demanding a Friday the 13th game. They were like, we want more Friday the 13th. And it was a really good game that people still really like, and they're trying to find ways to keep it alive. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people are so adamant about the Stop Killing Games petition was for games like that. I mean, that was one of the games that people were talking about because, they invested a lot of time into it. They were having a lot of fun with it. Yeah. They've even have workarounds. I think someone in our one of my people that watches the show has told me about how they've been working hard to create sort of like,
An ad hoc server.
peer servers so that people
Yep.
can keep playing the game. I have not uninstalled it from my PlayStation, despite the fact that, the servers are down.
Right.
In the off chance that they might come back. But it looks like Halloween is basically just the continuation of that. And I don't hate that. I mean,
Right.
I'm not as big a fan of the Halloween movies as I am the Friday the 13th movies, but if this is how the franchise continues, then I guess, I'll take it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because fundamentally the gameplay and all the
Yeah, it looks
mechanics,
the same.
everything, that was sound. And yeah, I mean, character models look like the exact same character models almost. The vibe is there. It's the late 1970s and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this could be as good as you're going to get. So if you're a fan of those games that they had worked on previously, I would imagine that this is worthy of at least consideration.
Yeah.
How long the servers will be able to be kept up, though, that's really the question.
I mean, to be fair, if it weren't for Halloween, there probably wouldn't have been a Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe Friday the 13th came out in 1980 and Halloween came out in the 70s.
Right.
And like even when Friday the 13th came out in 1980, the first movie didn't even feature Jason, it was his mother. And then the second movie gives you the Jason with the bag on his head. So, but yeah, I mean, like it's bittersweet, I guess. Like that's my feeling on it. I don't know what are you interested in the Halloween game? It does look fun.
When I was watching this the other day, I was immediately thought to myself, "Oh, this reminds me of Friday the 13th," and the fact that you actually confirmed that it is the people, because when they showed off one of the mechanics of the shape movement, I was like, "This kind of reminds me of one of the powers that you could have depending on which one of the Jasons that you used."
Yeah,
where he was able to move through a little bit undetected and have like the speed to just kind of show up somewhere. And so that exact mechanic got cribbed and got moved over into this one. So, yeah, in terms of the way that it'll play, I think it'll be fundamentally sound, especially if this is basically a reskinned Friday the 13th. That and if that's all that they can do, I would much rather that the Stop Killing Games initiative is a kind of viable thing for games like this going forward, and you don't have to necessarily rely on independent people to do all this heavy lifting to make it work on a peer-to-peer level. But if they found a way to do that for Friday the 13th, and there were a way to still get a copy of it for PC, then I would look towards that. But if this is the best alternative, then yeah, this is I'll consider picking this up when it's we'll
see when
priced.
it comes out.
Yeah.
I hope it. Well, I mean, I guess in a way, I want them to figure out a way to differentiate itself a little bit.
Right.
Then again, people want the Friday the 13th experience, and I think that you don't want to change it too much.
Right.
I think the main difference is that I can see just looking at the franchises, because I've watched the Halloween movies and the Friday the 13th movies. The main distinction I know is that the Friday the 13th movies take place on Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
So it's mostly wilderness with a couple of cabins. This will be taking place in a suburb. So there'll be like streets and houses. So that could make for more opportunities for different ways to play the game. So I think that could be very cool. The other thing is that as far as I understand it, unless they changed it, Michael Myers was not like an unstoppable revenant like Jason was. He was just a guy. He was tough, but
yeah. that they are going with that in this, is that he is
obviously
killing machine.
But like, remember, you can kill Jason in the Friday the 13th game, but you had to like accomplish a certain number of objectives and then you could do it.
Right.
But I don't know if they're going to have a mechanic like that for this. Like, remember in Friday the 13th, there was a few ways you could win as a camp counselor. You could survive long enough, the time runs out.
Cops there.
And you can escape in a car or on a boat. You can get the cops to come and then go to them. or you can kill Jason. I think that was like all of the different ways.
Right.
But yeah, Masagoa says Home Alone versus Halloween. Mr. 0303 says he becomes a zombie later on. That must be like later, like when Busta Rhymes was in the movies. I watched the first couple, so I didn't watch the whole franchise. And it's all over the place too, in terms of like the canon, the timeline and stuff. It's all over the place. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I would appreciate if there were a single player aspect to it as well.
Friday the 13th has a single player mode too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope that they do include that, even if it doesn't even have to be long. It would be nice to, have something that's kind of,
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, asynchronous games are cool and everything like that. I'm getting ready to in the next month. At the end of October, the server is going to go live for Fox Hunt, which is going to be the 2-on-6. Well, actually, it's 6 teams of 2 players vying for control of the maps in using Metal Gear's. Using Metal Gear Delta as the backdrop for the maps and everything like that. So it looks interesting enough for my sensibilities, where I'll probably give it a go here and there, but it wouldn't necessarily be my main draw to anything. I do multiplayer gaming with my friends, but it's not really something that I normally gravitate towards. But that's just me. So.
All right. Let me read some of your comments, and we're going to move on to the next thing. Let me see. I thought I saw something. Trickster Not says, oops, what happened to my thing? No, that's not it. Where is it? Trickster Not says, canonically, Wolverine is supposed to be 5'3". Wow. I remember when I don't know if that was like in the Marvel universe. You remember there were these books. I used to love them. It was called The Official Guide to the Marvel Universe. And there was like a series of comic books, a little bit thicker than normal, well, significantly thicker. And they had basically entries for every character in the Marvel Universe. And it gives you their names and a bunch of their data. And one of those things would be their height. And I remember in that book, I believe Wolverine was 4'11", or maybe like just under 5 foot tall, maybe a little bit, maybe right around there. But they may have changed it. So maybe they thought he was too small. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know that, back in the late 90s, I was still in high school. I got one of those anthology kind of cool. It wasn't the Exopedia. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, this is like back in 1998 or 1999 at the latest. In the support materials, they definitely have alluded to various heights and whatnot. But that was over 25 years ago now, so I couldn't tell you exactly what it said in there. But I remember I had a copy of it. Yeah.
Okay, so. Norwegian says TES6 will almost definitely be woke. You mean the Elder Scrolls? Is that what that stands for? And then someone else, Trickster Not, says for the Elder Scrolls itch, there's Wayward Realms and Fate Keeper. Also, I heard, I have the demo for it. Painted Grail is supposed to be like, I don't know if it's counts because I don't know if it's like open world and as highly detailed, but
I know quite a few people that were playing through, especially Painted Grail, the second game that I believe Helzo, who is another one of the people that I stream with, he did a number of months of playing through on it. Also, if I remember correctly, I believe 40K Empress was playing it as well at one point in time. It was very, very much an Elder Scrolls kind of vibe that I was taking from it. So,
all right. Trickster Not then says Earth's Mightiest Heroes had the best iteration of Hulk. Yes, that guy. Is it Fred Tascatori or whatever his name is? I think he always does the Hulk voice. Gabriel says, I'm suspicious of the Deus Ex remaster, especially since it's done by Appear and not Night Dive Studios. I'm not sure. Norwegian says, how would Halloween work as a game? It's an asymmetrical horror. One person plays Michael Myers. The other players all play basically town survivors and try to escape.
Right.
Mr. 0303 says Halloween's timeline is even worse. Iris Rhoda says Asper did a great job of the Tomb Raider and Soul Reaver remasters. Okay. Then maybe, I mean, are they doing the Deus Ex one then? That might be something.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yes. Because we were talking about that the other day on Will's channel.
All right. Rhoda says, Lorking, still listening, playing Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I hear that's crack. I'm trying not to get. I used to play Final Fantasy 11 a lot, and I got kind of sucked in. So I had to stop. Asper censored both games. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's look at Ananta.
Indeed.
So this is the 10-minute trailer. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Maybe we'll jump around a little bit.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth your time to seek out. To watch
so this is made by the same people who made Zenless Zone Zero and like Genshin Impact. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can see that by the way the animation looks.
Yeah,
and like I said, I don't know what kind of game it is because it's kind of like it's kind of weird, but
it's affiliated with the same people that also worked on Marvel Rivals as well. So
You jokers again?
This time you're not getting away.
Don't you guys have anything
My
better
one
to do?
concern with, well, I did try Zenless Zone Zero for a little bit, and there isn't much to it at all, and the gameplay is very simple. So, but this maybe this is not that. So there's like combat again. Looks like Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed.
You guys at least try not to come off so desperate.
Batman.
What do you guys really want?
Our boss wants to hold a concert in the city. There a problem with that?
Can't you just book a stadium like everyone else?
A dinky stadium couldn't possibly handle the
look, it's prototype. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, all the that is not, a detriment because I mean you're not going to get a new prototype game, unfortunately. It's been well over a decade since the last one, so
the developers of prototype, they're the ones. They're the guys that gave us Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that game is the bomb. Like
and
the
so
best
that's
Hulk game ever is that.
Yeah, and that's my thought on this is with the state of games the way they are currently. Even this is a gacha game. Knowing as well as you know that going into it doesn't mean that you actually have to pay for gacha game aspect elements. But if it's able to scratch the itch of giving you open world combat and driving around and the insanity that should be in a Grand Theft Auto game, that's all I'm really looking for.
I work for the Nova City Crime Agency.
Yeah.
I can explain. They started all that
And
there, not me.
waifus with jiggle physics.
Watch out!
That's right. Master Grower says more games need to steal that satellite zoom transition. Yes, it has that. It has that in this game too.
Yeah.
I don't know like how. Like I said, there's a lot about this game I don't know. Like I know like how many characters you switch between. Like what is the objective? Like is there a story? Like I don't know what it is.
Well, she is a cop, it seems, and he is a criminal of sorts, but she's trying. That's what this whole 10-minute exchange is basically her recruiting him, I guess.
Mind if I borrow this?
Whoa, what was that you just did? Careful!
So I'm assuming this 10 minutes is fairly early into the game.
Yeah.
Looks like their license is getting revoked.
I mean, like I said, it looks like it's doing a lot.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of different things. You got shooting, you got Spider-Man shit, you got GTA shit.
Well done.
There is aerial movement like Spider-Man. You can use those tentacles to web sling around the city. And because people are enjoying this game, of course, the shill media is out in droves saying how this is just a derivative work and that Insomniac should go after these people for plagiarism, and it's like,
good thing I've got a bona fide.
Considering that NCSoft has delivered Marvel
I can't say the same for the
most of their revenue this past year for Marvel Rivals, I think that if anything, they're probably very willing to,
lower the volume because we don't need the cringe sound effects and voice acting. But go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that this game was done somewhat in partnership with Sony. Is, if anything, looking to have this be something that they can have as a lean-to for people who are kind of in this camp of you're not going to get me to buy this, you're not going to get me to buy that, you're not. So if this is the thing that they have is kind of a peace offering of, oh well, if you want those gameplay dynamics and overall sensibilities without all the wokey shit, here's that, which is fine,
Yeah.
If I have to give up GTA 6 and Spider-Man and everything like that to get a condensed version of it, all in one offering that asks me for money if I'm willing to put it forward, I can deal with that. And if people don't want to get caught up in a gacha game, normally I don't, but knowing what I know about GTA 6 and how it's going to be built around the concept of the Grand Theft Auto, the GTA Plus membership, which is $10 a month in and of itself, that to me seems like gacha game mechanics right there. So at least this is coming out front and saying exactly what it is, rather than trying to act like it's some kind of premium game experience that ultimately is going to be built upon a subscription-based model.
So this is going to be free to play?
Yeah, because even at the end of the trailer, it says that you can go and pre-register now so that you can get in on it.
Master Goa says Ananta supposedly only cosmetics are gacha. Characters are acquired through gameplay. That's what they say, anyways.
Yeah, and if that's what they're doing, if they're because this is NCSoft, so I imagine this will kind of be like Marvel Rivals in that regard, where it will actually be more based on you being able to do stuff. And who knows? You might even be able to earn in-game currency akin to something like Helldivers 2, and the payment aspect will be there as a quick, I just want it now. And if that's the case, then that's something that you have to decide as a customer in your own right. But at least, like I say, they're upfront and just saying that's what it is and this is what it's about. And sadly, people may not like this, but this is kind of the future of where a lot of game design stuff is going to be headed towards, is giving away a large bit of it, plus.
Well, it's all there. Yeah, I mean, game developers got to make money, but they got to find the best model. And I think that the one that's viable is making a game free to play and then charging for cosmetics as opposed to pay to win, and then offering maybe a couple of ways for people to earn things. I know that in Helldivers 2, you can just grind and get if you want to buy the war bonds, you can just grind for super credits and buy them, or you can spend money on them, but you don't need them. You're not a loser if you don't have it, And and then Marvel Rivals, the only thing you pay for is cosmetic. And again, you don't have to. I haven't spent a dime on Marvel Rivals, and I've got a number of cosmetics just from playing the game. So, but people who want to get everything, they just spend the money if they want. That might be, and I don't think it needs to be for in every case. Because there is definitely exploitative elements too.
Oh yeah, and back when I helped do the design work on Red Dead Online, that was the mindset that I had of, okay, of course you've got the gold bars there, but why not actually reward people that consistently play the game and because ultimately they are the people that are going to sustain it in the long term. And if a game company is willing to work with me in that regard and say your time is valuable, not only to you but also to us, if you are going to be one of the people who can actually get more people interested, and those people will want to catch up to where you are, and so they will drop some coins that kind of have the things that you might have, and they don't want to grind it out. You know, there's nothing wrong with having monetization elements if you do it in a way that is at least respectful and not predatory. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even with Metal Gear Solid Delta, the game was purchased for me as a gift, and so since it was purchased for me as a gift, I didn't feel too terrible about going and dropping $15 for the DLC add-on stuff, because you know someone else had already front-loaded the initial $70 investment.
Got a minute?
Wait, are we heading to the NCCA?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to give me any good citizen awards, honestly.
Let's find a spot and chat for a while. You've got me curious.
All right. Well, that was just like a short.
Yeah, but you can register now at anatagame.com, so which I'm sure they have in the description.
AnantaGame.com if you're interested. I might check it out. See, what's up.
Yeah,
so
this is my
let me
GTA
see.
6 for the foreseeable future.
Well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, for sure. I think that Rockstar is like on really shaky ground with me, anyways. So in general, just because of like what happened with they were just, the writing appears to be on the wall. So, all right, let's take a look at something else. I thought this was just kind of weird that they're so like they're bringing Microsoft Flight Simulator has been announced. Is this something to be excited about? I don't know. They made a big thing out of it.
I mean,
it's coming to PlayStation.
Okay.
Like, chat is invisible on screen. Yeah, when I go into hold on a second. I think I know why. Just give me a second here. Let's do that. Okay.
Might be a layer down or something.
Huh?
I say it might be.
No, it's just that when we're looking at videos, you don't see it.
Right.
Then, yeah. So, all right. So this is Flight Simulator 2024. I have the trailer here for it. I don't know if this is something to get excited about or not. It's weird to me. I thought I would show. No, some people like this kind of stuff though. Like the the one really popular genre of game in Japan is like train operator simulator.
I mean, I suppose the most interesting aspect of this is it just goes to show more and more how little buying an ever increasing priced Xbox system is.
Yeah. If you're really into jets and planes, you can see that.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was really into jets. Like you'd show him a picture, he'd tell you what it was. He built little models. You remember like the models people would build? Yeah, he would build those. So I don't know if it's something, I guess it's coming to PlayStation, which is again kind of strange. But it's Microsoft, which means Bill Gates. Yeah, of course. I just thought it was a weird thing to show off.
Yeah, because it is a sign of the times of how little brand integrity really means at this point in time, especially in the day and age where most everything is going to end up being accessible through PC sooner or later. So I have bought my last console, as it were. You know, it's I'll wait for the next iteration of a Steam Deck, or you know, maybe once the price comes down on this Ally X box edition in a couple of years' time, that I might give that, you know, somewhat of a look, depending on how easy it is to install Steam OS on it.
Yeah,
but that's also another one of those things where it's like it seems like the price on that's going to be pretty cost prohibitive. But the other good news of the week, though, is for anybody out there who doesn't own a Steam Deck, they did drop the entry level price 20% off on the I believe it's I think 256 is the smallest size drive capacity they have on it now. But honestly, for that 20% off, if you want to go and crack it open and install a 1 to 2 terabit drive in there, you will be able to have a very serviceable system that plays a lot of games without too much difficulty for very little investment. So get a Steam Deck, as I say frequently on many of the shows that I'm on.
You're still in the consoles, get a Steam Deck.
That's right.
I'm still thinking about, like, even though my PC is decent, I'm still thinking about getting one. I don't know.
Yeah, they're nice. They do offload some overhead, because you can always Steam Link it to your system, and then have the game processing happening on the Steam Deck, and then you can just take your portal window through Steam Link and then put that inside your OBS, so you can just have it, you know, working as a terminal screen. So it is good in that regard, and it travels. Yeah.
All right, let's get into one other thing too. I wanted to mention YouTube. So if you guys don't know, well, I think you do, because I mentioned it on the show I do over on the main channel that I work at. So in a significant admission detailed in a letter to the House Judiciary Committee on September 23rd, Google revealed that the Biden administration pressured YouTube to censor content related to COVID-19, including material that did not violate the platform's own policies. The disclosure came amid a years-long Republican-led investigation into big tech's content moderation practices, spearheaded by Chairman Jim Jordan, which subpoenaed Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai earlier in the year. Google's legal counsel described the government's tactics as unacceptable and wrong, acknowledging that White House officials created a political atmosphere to influence removals of perceived misinformation during the pandemic and the 2020 election cycle. This echoes similar revelations from Meta, where CEO Mark Zuckerberg previously stated his company faced comparable demands, highlighting a pattern of alleged jawboning by federal officials to suppress dissenting views on vaccines, election integrity, and other related topics. In response, YouTube announced a limited pilot program to reinstate thousands of previously banned accounts, targeting creators terminated for repeated violations of now retired policies on COVID-19 and election and misinformation, allowing them to apply for restoration and signaling a shift towards prioritizing free expression. The move has been hailed by conservatives, including legal scholar Jonathan Turley, as a huge development for free speech, potentially benefiting high-profile figures like Dan Bongino and Steve Bannon, whose channels were affected. And I also want to add that a couple of other people have had their accounts reinstated. Friend of mine, Dave Cullen, who I interviewed on this channel a little while back. His channel used to be called Computing Forever, and he was taken down. He was one of the early ones, actually. He was one of the early vocal dissidents against specifically the COVID stuff. But of course, he was dissident generally against like a lot of sort of like, let's say global homo, gay race communism that's been going on. And he got his channel back, and I guess he made a video saying that he's probably not going to make content on there because everything that he wanted to say, he already said it. And he has another channel, if you guys don't know, it's called The Dave Cullen Show, where he just talks about pop culture, talks about shows and movies and pop culture. And also, Alex Jones got his channel back, but then it was taken down again. But then it's back. It's like I am subscribed to an Alex Jones show. I don't know what it is though.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people got their channels back as well. So
well, he didn't get his channel back. From what I understand, is they put this out. He and Nick Fuentes created new channels. And then those new channels were shut down within 12 hours of creation. And that's where, on the surface, this sounds all well and good, but I think this is more sizzle than steak.
Sure.
Because ultimately, because when they said, we'll be more forthcoming with details, and you can apply, this pilot program. And so this seems to me of more of, as much as they want to sit here and celebrate the idea that, we're gonna respect freedom of speech and independent views and things like that. This is more of are you now willing to go along with us and do the self-censoring, because we're going to give you this hollow offering. I don't trust Google, not as far as anything. When I share the links for the show, I always share the Rumble links, as I generally do for anybody that I do streams with. If they do multi streams, I'm always pushing their Rumble side more so than the YouTube side, because I don't know. YouTube, to me, it is an exploitation ghetto. It exploits the audience. It exploits the creators. It even exploits the advertisers that most of it's built around. So, I don't know. This is one of those things where it sounds good, but to a degree. But then, you actually kind of look at the details of what this is actually suggesting. And for all the people who want to say, we're living under a fascist administration, all the while the previous administration was actually going out of its way to do draconian censorship efforts and try to frame public policy and get people to either commit to the thought crimes that they were trying to mislead you on, or condemn you for thought crimes because you were actually saying something that wasn't with the political viewpoint. I don't really trust this. It sounds all well and good, but they're going to be selective. And if they're going to be selective, then that really isn't advocating for legitimate free speech. And if they're not giving you back the thing fully restored, and even if it is fully restored, does that mean, now that you are able to recoup years of lost time and effort through the monetization that you were undermined from and all this kind of stuff? There's a lot here that's kind of about the whole thing. I don't know.
Interestingly enough, Jimmy Kimmel got taken off the air, and then he was back in like a day, which I knew was going to happen. I figured it was because they didn't call it, like they didn't really say why. They just sort of did it.
It didn't even last an entire week before they decided to reinstate him. To their credit, though, Sinclair and Nexstar are sticking to their legitimate principles and values and saying, well, fine, fuck it. If ABC proper wants to go and reinstate him, doesn't mean that we affiliates have to, oblige and go along with it. So he still lost access to pimping his ideological fuckery on 65 channels plus for any other smaller affiliates. But Nexstar and Sinclair are a pretty sizable offering within the affiliates that ABC has to rely on. So it's a stay of execution. Dude gets no views. Nobody really watches terrestrial TV at this point in time, by and large, especially for late night TV. And of the late night TV hosts, he is certainly one of them, but he is far from anybody that is a trendsetter or anything like that. He's a lapdog.
All right. No, you're right. I mean, yeah, of course. And of course, he doubled down on his beliefs anyway. So,
Yeah.
because like a lot of people tuned in to watch him. And I'm hoping that I didn't watch him, but he got big numbers the night after
It was a very big non-apology. He fake cried a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
But I don't know. We'll see if people stay away and just keep staying away and let it die because it's gonna die. So, I still think it's smart to play it safe on YouTube. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Well, I mean, it's still where everybody's at, but that's why I'm streaming to both. You know, I mean, and if my Rumble audience becomes big enough, I'll just drop YouTube altogether.
Yeah.
So, and I'd like to be able to do that. I mean, I have to do YouTube because Allison won't go away from YouTube over on HBR, but it's fine. Like, whatever. You know, it's what I got to do.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's look at. You know, it's getting. I was thinking about looking at one other thing. There's a movie that came out with Leonardo DiCaprio called One Fight or One Battle After Another. And I don't know if you guys heard about it. I saw trailers, but I didn't really care because I just don't care that much about this kind of thing. But apparently, it is a super woke, sort of revolutionary pro Antifa movie. So.
Way to read the room.
That kind of yes, that is pretty wild, but kind of true from what I have heard. So let me just sort of touch on this. I'm not gonna watch it anyway, and I know that Leo is like big on the climate change thing. I know that for sure because he's talked about it. He made a movie about it with Jennifer.
Even though
Lawrence.
He has a fleet of private jets of his own, yeah,
probably. And he talked about it when he did The Revenant, which was a pretty good movie. I liked it, but yeah. But and again, I think Leo is a good actor and he does good stuff. And I don't really care that he dates 25-year-old girls or ladies. But he made this movie. So let me just read a little bit of it. Okay, One Battle After Another, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, has sparked intense debate regarding its perceived wokeness. Reactions sharply divided along ideological lines. It's a political thriller rooted in revolutionary themes that centers on a group of ex-revolutionaries reuniting to rescue the daughter of one of their own after their nemesis resurfaces. It features predominantly non-white cast, with Tiana Taylor delivering one of the film's standout performances at Perfidia, a key revolutionary figure. So, critics on the political left have praised the film as a bold and necessary critique of systemic racism, state violence, and white supremacy in America. It currently holds 97% critic score, so that means it's shit, by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes, with reviewers calling it a stunning revolutionary masterpiece that unflinchingly confronts contemporary political realities. Conversely, conservative critics have condemned the film as woke propaganda, accusing it of promoting far-left ideologies and glorifying anti-government violence. A review from Awards Daily argues that the film decenters the white man from the narrative and adheres rigidly to a left-wing doctrine portraying all white men, except for an ineffectual stoner dad, as racists and people of color as perpetual victims. So, yeah, it continues. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to ask. So, Perfidia, that's the name of a character, right?
Perfidia, Perfidia.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like something that should have like a 3-minute long fucking, these are the possible side effects associated with it. Like that sounds like some crazy shit that you get from Pfizer.
It's it does sound like medication. It's right? Spanish for perfidy, which means faithlessness, treachery, or betrayal. So it's a song written by Mexican composer and arranger Alberto Dominguez.
Okay. So
kind of a weird reference, but so yeah, it's a polarizing movie, and it's definitely intended to divide people. I knew about it because I saw trailers, but I didn't know what it was. And then I saw Film Threat made a video about it, which is Chris Gore's YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, but don't check out One Battle After Another unless you're into that kind of thing. If you want like an Antifa movie, And I think it's relevant because like we're still dealing with Antifa shit now, like the aftermath of it, and Hollywood as they're so completely disconnected from reality. They just support this shit whole cloth. So cringe.
Yeah.
Weird. All right. So last thing I want to share, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and it's right on time.
Indeed.
This is just for my edification, for my pleasure. This is the first teaser trailer for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Steel Ball Run, which I'm going to tell you, I recommend it. I hope, because it is being put out on Netflix, which is disappointing because Netflix is shit, but also they dropped the ball on how they released part 6 because like before it was on Crunchyroll, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Crunchyroll would do it on a schedule. They would basically do a simulcast of the show. So when it aired on Japanese television, it would air, I think it was like an hour later in the States, like very close to the same time. And it was called JoJo Friday because it would always come on Friday. And I had like a whole like, it would be like around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning when the JoJos would come on. And I had a whole ritual. I would get my coffee and I'd go get some basically like pork belly, like fried pork belly, deep fried. And I would sit there and I'd watch JoJo and I'd eat it and drink my pork belly. And it was all the way through from parts 1 through 5 did that. And then part 6 comes out and they release it on Netflix and they do it in these big batches, not the whole thing. You know, like some people like to binge watch an entire season. They didn't even do that. They would do part of a season and then they would wait like 6 months and they give you another little part of the season. And then you wait another 4 months and they give you the rest of the season. And the way that they presented it actually took away from the quality of the show. So I had to watch it again without the batches to be able to appreciate what it was. So Netflix is doing this now. They're releasing it, which is a little bit concerning for me. Not just because I don't want to support Netflix, but I have my ways of watching this show anyways.
Indeed.
But because of how they may release it. Like they're missing out on because I don't know if like streaming services understand that, you know, some people like to binge watch. I personally prefer that things get released on a schedule, like where you just get it like an episode a week or something.
Oh yeah, no, digestible entertainment so that you can actually pour over the context rather than just get inundated with the content. You know? Yeah,
but there's also the thing of like if you watched it when everyone else watched it, so like everyone's watching it at the same time, and I think that you can get
more conversations, things like that.
Yeah, and also not just like in person, but like online. Like look at all of the popular JoJo memes came out during the time when it was on Fridays. The JoJos had the best memes of anime, in my opinion, outside of like maybe some of the old stuff. But like when they started doing the batches, part 6 didn't get the memes because of how they released it. So it's just, you know, kind of unfortunate. But anyway, this is the teaser trailer for Steel Ball Run, which comes out in 2026. So not for a little while yet. I'm hoping like early 2026, but we'll see. And this is probably, you're not going to get a lot out of this, but I will say that part 7 is probably one of the best written arcs. So if they do it well, it's going to be good, but we'll see. Anyway, here we go.
これよりスティールボールランレースの開会を宣言する。絶対に突き止めてやる。もう一度馬に乗ってやる。レースで優勝しなきゃなんでな。よっ。残された足だけが勝者の条件となる。
このレースの勝者はこの世のヒーローになるわ。
世界中の誰もが体験したことのない競技大会となるだろう。
この物語は僕が歩き出す物語だ。
All right.
Thankfully, it looks like I say. Thankfully, it looks like it is going to retain its actual sensibilities because it's not Netflix in charge of the production. They're just working more as like a distributor. It's like so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, and Netflix isn't involved with making it, but they are. Yeah, they're basically distributing it. So that's my only concern is that it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't affect the artistic.
Yeah,
sensibilities.
And some of the voice actors have changed, like a couple of them. But it's fine. Like I'll just adapt to it. That I was expecting that, but I was hoping it wouldn't be the case.
Right.
But anyway, so that's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Steel Ball Run. I'm not wearing that. I'm wearing a Pillar Men shirt, but I do have a Steel Ball Run shirt that I made. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and definitely like talk about it when it's out. And I hope that you guys will watch it as well, so we have something to talk about. But with that said, I think we're done for today, and then right on time. So thank you for coming on the show. And John, what do you got going on this week?
Well, for the rest of the day, I'm going to be enjoying some downtime. I still need to go buy a hairdryer so I can do the battery replacement on this Steam Deck. So I'll probably do that at some point today. And then I got to watch some Red Dwarf for tomorrow's episode of Time in Red Dwarf. And we're reviewing episodes 5 and 6 of season 4 tomorrow over on Will of Fans' channel for what I affectionately call Time in Red Dwarf in Space. Since we used to cover Doctor Who, I came up with TARDIS as the name of what we do now. That will be at 9 a.m. Eastern in the morning. You can always find me there throughout the week on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And then we've also been doing some impromptu Jackbox game streams on the other days of the week or whenever we hit 50 subs during the week. That just kind of is, all right, let's pull this thing over and do a game stream. Otherwise, you can also see me on Toasty's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays throughout the week. I do believe she's planning on doing a stream tonight for I Dream of Bikini Genie. And so I might go join her doing that because we didn't do last night's stream. So I might make it up and just go hang out with her for a little bit. But otherwise, the scheduled days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. But you can always find me here, too, on the weekends here on Honey Badger Arcade for the Weekend Culture at this time. And thank you, everybody. We had really, really good turnout here over on the Rumble side throughout the show. I think we had close to 20 people at one point in time, and we've been well over 10 throughout the mainstay of the show. So I'd love to see that. So thank you, everybody. Regardless what platform you joined us on for the last 2 hours, we do greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what we do here, please do share out links to the stream whenever possible so we can hopefully get Brian more viable to leave the YouTube side behind. But with that said, though, I always appreciate the conversations you and I have on the weekends. Really love doing this. This is one of the highlights of the week for all the things that I do as far as streaming. But with that said, safe travels ahead. Y'all have a wonderful weekend going forward. Of course, be awesome as always.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you all once again so much for coming on today's episode of The Week in Culture, and we will talk to you all in the next one. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. and you breathe that in and you can constantly taste the salt.